Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. But first, we're starting with the Chariot. Every reading, I pull a card as I'm setting up, and today we pulled the Chariot. What is the energy of the Chariot? It is work. In my mind, anyways. I always think of like those old cobble streets, right? A big old chariot, heavy horses, whatever these things are, griffins and sphinxes and chimeras, I think is what they're called. I don't know. Anyways, running down the street, loud. Not even running, barreling, right? And this thing is coming. It's the power, the sound. It's like a train. And then we apply that to our work, that energy, that I'm not going to stop until I'm done. We are going to get this thing hammered out, baby. We're going to get it going. And so we start with that energy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Capricorn, thank you for clicking on the reading. If you would be so kind as to consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, or leaving a comment. It helps so much to have the interactions. The algorithm just like, it eats Cookie Monsters it all. Loves it. And it does help the channel. It helps us get into people's recommends and so on and so forth. So if you are willing, please, 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 and thank you. Also, I wanted to mention, I am recording this. Is this the 20th, I think? This is, Tuesday, October 20th, 2025, but it will be coming out on October 26th, 2025. And I only mention this because I want you to know when it was recorded. Okay, so you can look back on that day and see, okay, it was the new moon. It was the, warm, cold, raining, snowing, whatever it is, wherever you are. And you can see how that affects the message for you. Okay. And these are timeless readings. So whenever you watch them, that is when they are activated. So I saw the word hate. I'm going to go ahead and show you that in a second. Okay, so we have H-A-T-E right there, hate. We have the number 8 right here. So here I see we have a person. Here's the head. Here's the body, the leg right here. We have the house right here. Here's the chimney. This would be kind of the roof and the rest of the home. Here we also, it looks like a home with a tree kind of next to it, the moon over top. We have a person out here kind of standing. We have a bird. We have, it looks to me like a little axe there. This looks like it's I-O-E, if that means anything to you. So we also have a person up here who's holding a giant fish. Here's the head. Here's the fish. Here's the rest of the person's body. Here's the number 16, so 16 right there. So I feel like there has been somebody in your life who probably you thought hated you your whole life. or the whole time you've known them anyways. I think this is somebody who has like a pretty sour disposition. But you know what is interesting about them is that they always show up. They're always there to help. They're always, willing to do what needs to be done. No matter how bad of a mood they're in or how much they grumble, or you're like, I don't want to call dad because he's going to be angry that I'm asking him for help again, or, whatever. But always shows up. Always shows up, Capricorn. So to me, I almost wonder if this is a part of self that you see in somebody else. Or you're starting to see that you have a similar disposition to the parent, right? Your parent. And I even wonder if this is kind of like you're discovering this through dealing with your own kids. Like they're adults now and you're helping them. And yeah, like you grumble, but you are happy to be there. You're happy to be able to help. And I feel like there's just so much love. There's a sense of like finally getting it, realizing that this person in your life, this like grandfather, this grandpa, this maybe grandma, I don't know, maybe it's your mom, your dad, finally seeing that you understand you understand it. You understand the frustration. You understand the grumbling. You understand the burnout that they were going through. And I think for the first time, maybe in your entire life, there's a sense of seeing them as a human being. And that doesn't negate any of the wrongs or the mistreatments or the things that they said that hurt, or, listen, when we're family, when we have people in our lives for a long time, there are going to be times where we don't act or say or behave in the ideal. Okay? I feel like you are really coming to terms with that. You're seeing it. You're seeing where you yourself have had missteps. And I feel like this is like a huge breakthrough. I feel like this is going to be one of those great breakthroughs of your life. Because you're not excusing behaviors. You're not excusing mistreatments. But you're seeing people as human beings, like fully as human beings for maybe the first time ever. And there's freedom in that. Believe me, there's freedom in that. So I see this as being a place where there had been maybe feelings of resentment, hate, not, willing to talk to them or compromise or any of this stuff. And I'm not saying that you have to, especially if you're like estranged or you're no contact or whatever. We can come to realizations in our healing process that are like, okay, I see why you made that decision. I see why you did that thing. I wouldn't do that myself, but I can see why somebody might, and I can see where that maybe was a mistake, or you didn't have the understanding or the education or whatever. That being said, that doesn't mean I'm going to let you into my life. I can understand or try to, or I can empathize with, doesn't mean I'm going to allow you back into my life. So I do feel that there's a sense of healing, but there's also a sense of a lot of love for self and for keeping yourself protected. Okay, so Keep that in mind, okay? As you start to maybe feel those feel good hormones, emotions, chemicals that flood us when we're going through our healing at times. I mean, usually healing is just gross and ghetto and it's lonely and painful and desperate. And then there are times where, yeah, you're full of glee and joyful and you love everybody. But you have to remind yourself, you have to make choices that are better for you, not just for the moment. Now, we have ELFT, so left, left-handed, left-hand path, left-sider, something with the left. So it feels to me, we have the rod. So we have wand, R-O-D. So wands, energy, fire. We have a person up here casting a spell. We have a person over here. It looks like next to water. Doesn't it look like it's mirroring? Like this is the horizon line here. And then there's a building or something. It's mirrored in the water here. And then a person standing here, it looks like with a fishing pole. So looking for money, right? Trying to make money. I feel like you are employing magic, prayer, appeals. And I feel like, this to me reminds me of a dance. There's a person here and their hands up, and then another person over here, and they have dresses. So I do feel like there's a sense of needing guidance, looking for guidance towards which path do I go? Which opportunity do I take? Do I keep doing the 3 side hustles with my main job? Do I do this? Do I quit my job and just focus on the hustle? Whatever it might be. I feel like you're putting a lot of the energy out there. Please show me some kind of guidance. And I feel that this actually is going to lead to an opportunity that has something to do with maybe entertainment. Maybe it's like working at a club. Maybe it's teaching dance. Maybe it's you got cast in a community play, or I don't know exactly, but I feel like there's a lot of moving of the body, wearing maybe costumery, but something flowy almost, something you feel beautiful, you feel attractive in it, you feel noticed. And there's a purple, a dark purple kind of energy. We're going to ask the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Can you give me some guidance on what is this? What is Spirit kind of offering up? What is Spirit offering up? Okay, we're going to do, that one came out together. So we have resourcefulness. So here's that money. Here's that risk, taking the risk, seeing if this opportunity is going to pan out. Discovery. Okay. Secrets. Endurance. Flattery. Okay. So it's not easy. It's not going to be an easy path. You're going to have to take some pretty big risks. You're also going to be researching, studying. There are things that you just don't know how to do yet or you don't know about yet, but you're going to definitely get in there. I do feel that you decide to take the risk, even with the resources you have or don't have. I do feel like you are not telling people. This is like something that you're like starting this business without telling anybody. Maybe you haven't told your spouse, maybe not your parents or whatever it is. Now, there is an extra dynamic of needing to really, really like lock in. Just get through those chaotic times, the parts of it that just absolutely feel like everything's falling apart. You have to lock in. There's a need for strength, endurance. You need to have heart here, okay? Now, it seems that you've decided to go alone for the most part in this. So this is something that is really going to test you, but you're a Capricorn as well. So I don't see you like being out here complaining a lot, okay? We also have flattery. Okay. Now, I do feel like this is something that could be a distraction for you. You are not somebody who is usually out there looking for any kind of, somebody doting over you or flattering you or all the niceties and stuff. But I do feel like for this part of the thing, the matter at hand, it will affect your choice and your assertion. I almost wonder if it's somebody who's trying to get you to lean in their direction. Maybe they want to get involved in what you're doing. They want to take over what you're doing. They want to take the resources that you are starting to make. But the flattery, it feels very superficial. Yeah, and I feel like you combat this because you're eccentric to some degree, right? Like, and I don't mean like totally super weird, although if you are, shout out to you. You're my sibling because I'm a freaking weirdo over here. I would say eccentric is at the top 5 of my list of what people would maybe describe me as. But I do feel like this kind of difference that you have with like the majority of the let's just get along to go along or go along to get along or whatever. You don't play that. You're okay with being, the one holdout. You're okay with changing horses in midstream, if you will. But I do feel like, that flattery does work on you, okay? It will alter your decision making and how you really like put that out there, your assertion of that energy. But I think it's combated with the your eccentric nature. I think that, maybe this person doesn't know how to deal with you or handle you, or, they try to flatter you, but like they don't understand your subculture or what you're about or whatever. So they're trying to flatter you in ways that like just don't speak to you. I want to know more though. I want to know more. Let's see. So where are we at with that? Where? The magic. The anchor. I think it's just a lot of it just comes down to not stepping on any landmines, I think it's also not getting distracted by people, staying focused, but also being able to listen to yourself. It's a lot. It ends up being a lot. So I want to ask the tarot. This is from the Thoth deck. I want to ask the tarot, ultimately, what is it going to be this next few weeks? How is this going to kind of play out together? So we have the Knight of Swords. So we're in our mind, in our brains, we got a Four of Swords. So making that truce, okay. More swords. Okay, Eight of Swords. So interference. I feel like you're so in your head about stuff. Your biggest problem here is going to be trying to, it's like when you're writing something, like you want to write a short story, right? The first go at it, are you going to write each sentence perfectly? Or are you just going to do like a flow of consciousness? Are you just going to write the dang thing, all the stuff, anything that's in your head? Doesn't matter about the grammar. Doesn't matter about the narrative or building the story or any of that. It just get it out. Okay? You just get it out. And then you go back and edit it. I feel like for you, you're so in your head, you're trying to figure this out and get it all worked out before it even begins, that you don't know how to get out of that thought loop to really actually start the thing, because you're catastrophizing before anything happens. Okay? So I think that you're stuck in that I want to turn the key and get this ignition going, but you don't know how yet. You got to get out of your own way. So let's go 2 more. We're going to see here. Okay, so we have the Hierophant. So getting into your research, getting into your studies, going through formulaic rituals. Now, I'm not somebody that likes to follow, other people's rituals, if they are very established or not. But when I started my magical work, I absolutely learned rituals, banishing rituals, opening rituals, cleansing rituals, activating rituals, invocations, evocation, all the things. Postures, passes, mudras, utterances, pronunciations, all the things. Excuse me, I need a drink. All the things, and it's a lot. But we all need to have some kind of foundation. We all need to have something that will help us get started. And when you are faced with a blank canvas and you have no methodology, it might be a little too difficult to get going. So I do see where there's going to be benefit in starting somebody else's way. Maybe just like applying, looking around, seeing whatever this is. Like say you're starting like a snow cone business, right? You want to do it completely your own way. You want to do some crazy deconstructed chemicals and frozens and steams and whatever neat kind of thing. But you don't know how to get started. So where do you begin? I would say figure out how somebody runs a very basic snow cone company. Learn how to make snow cones. Figure out all the things that you need. Get it all set up in your mind, in your research, the way that everybody else does it. And then from there, you can start to extract the parts that you want to change and input the things that might, add a little bit of nuance to your business. So for instance, like if ices usually come in like a paper cone thing, maybe you decide, well, I'm going to do like some really pretty like cups, and maybe they're, see-through or look like painted glass or something. And that adds to the aesthetic and the functionality of the product, of the business, right? But you don't want to start with all these little kind of nuanced, detailed things. Now, they might be good jumping points, like as far as inspiration, but ultimately you want to figure out, how does this thing work at its core? And then we'll add the things on. And that's really what the Hierophant is for me is about getting back to the basic teachings, techniques, tenets, reading the holy books, practicing the, prescribed spiritual methods, all of that kind of stuff. So get out of your head, find something that somebody else has already created, okay? Start to learn it. Start to use it. Start to figure out, how does this done and how can I do it better? But you can't understand that until you're in the thing. You have to know what it's like to actually be doing it. Now we have the Magus or the Magician. Beautiful card to complement this Hierophant energy. You are building momentum in not only your education of the thing, your functionality of the thing, but also in your birthing of ideas. Okay, so the Magician is all about building that universe out. And you're going to do it, baby. Princess of Swords. Okay, so we go back to the mind, but now we have this very proactive sword energy. The princess and the prince are like, if you could think of like a young adult, they're like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, right? And they really care about stuff. They find their, social movement, or they find, the charity, the volunteer thing, the, whatever matter. Maybe they really get into like, spaying and neutering cats or something, whatever it is. When you are at that age, you have the ability to really care about stuff. Usually because, right, you don't have as many bills or responsibilities yet, right? You're building your life up. And then all the bills, the infinite bills will come. But at that point, you have usually some support. You have some, latitude in your own life, the ability to kind of move around. You might not be, married or have kids yet. And so you have the ability, you have the emotional, spiritual resources to really care about stuff. I mean, really. And so I do feel like, even though we're going back to that sword energy, it is more refined and it is very potent. Okay. So this is going to complement the Magician and the Hierophant beautifully. Okay. But that ruminating, no, we're not here for that. No more ruminating. Now, let's see, where are we going? I think we're at our magical, oh no, we have to do the saucer real quick, and then we'll do our lucky numbers. Oops. Okay, let's see. We have the number 7. We have the number 50 as well. We have 6, 7. Ugh, I don't want to hear that ever again. We have a person here. We have another person here. And then we have a dragon behind. I feel like last year was the year of the dragon. You had hoped to meet with somebody, maybe go on vacation. Maybe this is like seeing an old friend or something. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I do feel like in this ending of 2025, maybe even in 2026, you're going to be able to finally see them. And I feel like this is the love that you have been wanting and needing. So this feels like a very kindred spirit. Maybe it's like a sister. Maybe it's a best friend. This is going to be something that is very healing for both of you to be together. And so I feel like that's going to be something that if the opportunity arises, take it. Okay. So we have 2 numbers here. We have the number 3 and the number 4. So we have 34 or the number 7. 34 or 7 as our first lucky number. We have the number 5 and 1. So we have 51 or the number 6. Okay, we have the number 4 and the number 2. So this is 42 or the number 6 again. All right. Well, Capricorn, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. Thank you for being here with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, again, I love you. I love you. I love you. We will talk soon. I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Bye.